Coming up on WUFT First at 5, a new chief of police in Gainesville. The changes he's hoping to make while in office.
Plus, a city manager forced out. Why Palatka commissioners say he was unfit for the position.
And parking enforcement's on the way for downtown Gainesville. Why business owners feel that this is impacting their service.
First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Bradford County's under flood watch and more rain is on the way. This is First at 5 and I'm Alexis Vivanco.
And I'm Bianca Smith. Let's take a live look at I-75 at Paynes Prairie with our DOT camera. If you take a look at the camera, it stopped raining for right now, but make sure even when you're driving, you gotta slow down. Cars can hydroplane at speeds as slow as 35 miles an hour, so watch out for cars in the street. And with flood warnings in effect in the area, we can expect weather to worsen this evening. Let's head on over to UF forecaster Ben Gancarz-Davies and to see how long the rain's going to last.
Yes, we have been getting a lot of rain the past couple of hours. Luckily, this cluster of storms is on its way past us with the mass of those rains happening down south in Ocala. Those rains are headed towards the east where we do have that flood watch warning for Bradford County and east of that towards the First Coast. So if you're in one of those regions, watch out for rainy skies. These storms are part of what broke off of a band of storms from Francine, which is now in decline, which is currently located up here. So that shouldn't be having too much of an impact for the rest of our week coming up. Looking at our evening forecast, we have temperatures in the mid 80s, but on the decline to those upper 70s with storms scattering possibly right now, but going out as we keep looking. Coming up for the rest of my forecast, I'll be talking about the muggy and moist conditions we've been having and talking about how a rainy weekend may affect your football day.
A new face is stepping into the role of Gainesville Chief of Police. Nelson Moya is taking over the role starting on Monday. WFT's Isabelle Greiner joins us live at Gainesville City Hall, where Moya was just sworn into the role hours ago.
Just a few hours ago, right here at the Hall of Heroes, the new head of the Gainesville Police Department was sworn in, along with 13 new officers. Chief Moya's first official day is on Monday. He's been in the force since June of last year as the Assistant Chief of Police. He was later appointed interim chief back in March after the resignation of former Chief Lonnie Scott. Instead of being fired, back in February, Scott resigned instead of being fired after the city manager Cynthia Curry gave him the option to quit or be fired. We spoke to Chief Moya following today's ceremony, where he says his previous positions have well prepared him for this new permanent role.
It has given me that platform to learn, right? And I assimilated to that culture by listening and watching and learning and slowly making some influences where I could. And I think this platform only allows me the ability to carry those processes on.
Chief Moya says he aims to keep Gainesville a safer community with his initiatives, including the Gun Violence Prevention Initiative. He says this initiative has led to the removal of several illegal firearms. The official ceremony for Chief Moya will come at a later date, but for now, the chief says he plans to keep the community safe and get to work. Live in Gainesville, Isabelle Greiner, WUFT News.
We now know who will replace the Gainesville Fire Chief, Joseph Dixon. We told you on Tuesday Dixon was leaving the role to move to Baltimore to spend more time with his family. Deputy Chief Joseph Hillhouse will serve as the interim fire chief while a national search is conducted. Dixon's last day as chief will be November 1st.
Union County Sheriff's Office have arrested a middle school and elementary school student who are allegedly involved in a school shooting threat. UCSO says the middle school students left Lake Butler Elementary School a voicemail threatening harm. Both students are charged with a felony crime. UCSO says that these threats do not pose a threat to the school district. And UCSO says parents should talk with their students about the seriousness of these threats and its effects, which can include a second-degree felony and expulsion. And just an hour ago, we found out that a Marion County student is also in custody, accused of threatening to shoot up Dunn Island High School. We'll bring you updates as it develops on WFT.org.
A Georgia man has been arrested for petition fraud in relations to Florida's Amendment 3. The amendment is on the ballot for the legalization of recreational marijuana. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement says Colton Brady allegedly is being charged with 8 counts of petition fraud crimes. FDLE says 17 people have been charged with petition fraud following investigations involving over 30,000 invalid petitions.
The Palatka city manager is out of a job after last night's city commission meeting. The commission meeting lasted well into the night and dedicated a sizable portion of its 6.5-hour runtime to discuss issues relating to Commissioner Troy Bell's tenure. Commissioners previously approved an emergency motion in July to investigate Bell's time off requests and concerns about the work environment under his management. The board voiced their concerns about workplace culture and potential violations of protocol.
To you that could have easily been avoided had there been an honest conversation, some honest dialogue, because again, based on what I was provided by the person that we hired, now it's completely untrue.
The commission appointed Finance Director Marcia Cardi as the interim city manager in the same meeting for the foreseeable future.
Starting Monday, paying to park is going to be enforced in downtown Gainesville. Drivers will have to pay up to 50 cents an hour on street spaces with a 2-hour time limit. The only times this rule won't be in place is on weekends and city-observed holidays. Some drivers are already receiving parking citations because of these changes. Terry Brooks, a vendor to businesses in downtown, worries that this could affect his line of work.
I mean, it's definitely going to get in the way. It's a little inconvenient.
In Southwest Parking Garage, you can purchase monthly and quarterly permits up to $100. Business owners say they are losing business during the week. City commissioners are encouraging drivers to park further away to spend less.
Alachua County is working on its climate action plan for 2024.
WUFT's Bernardo Montas joins us in the studio to explain why some people are concerned it may be overlooking an important piece: tree conservation.
Alachua County is in the early stages of its forest management plan within its climate action plan. In the meantime, people in the county are contributing to tree conservation in their own ways.
The environment stays on the mind of University of Florida Assistant Professor of Forest Entomology, Yuri Holker.
It's not just the kids, it's you and I too, not having a healthy place to live in.
He worries that the more we develop, the less the environment will.
Cape has been completely transformed from formerly a fairly sustainable combination of urban life, agriculture, some conserved land or wildlands, into essentially a free-for-all industrial landscape.
And he's not alone with his concerns. Executive Director of Alachua Conservation Trust Tom Kay is too. He's overseen the planting of hundreds of thousands of trees.
We've planted more than 600,000 trees, primarily out at one preserve in Hawthorne called Little Orange Creek Preserve.
Kay wants people to invest in this cause. So does Executive Director of the Florida Trail Association, Royce Gibson, who says there's one main issue.
Overdevelopment, just the huge influx of folks that are moving to Florida. As cities expand, the opportunity to have a completed trail is vanishing.
And like these three, some in Alachua County aren't waiting around for a climate action plan. They're spearheading initiatives to jumpstart environmental friendliness with the hopes of protecting the county's forests.
Over the course of 10 years, 600,000 longleaf pines have been planted. They used to cover all of southeast Florida and now cover just 4% of their historical range. Live in the studio, Bernardo Montas, WUFT News.
Coming up at first at 5, the continued impacts of Hurricane Idalia on north central Florida. The lasting impact the storm has made on one town's poultry industry.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Florida's hospitals are seeing less turnover and job vacancy rates among nurses. That's according to a new report from the Florida Hospital Association. According to the report, the total vacancy rate dropped from 20% to just under 8% in the last 2 years. The turnover rate is now 17.6, nearly half of what it was in 2022. The FHA says it's essential to continue investing into education and training for future nurses.
The demand for healthcare in Florida is skyrocketing. We have to have a workforce that is ready to respond and meet that demand.
The report projects Florida could face a shortage of nearly 6,000 and 18,000 physicians by 2035.
An Ocala job fair is providing free opportunities for job seekers to meet with hiring companies. A career source, Citrus Levy Marion, is hosting the fair on September 25th from 3 to 5 p.m. Those planning to attend should bring printed copies of their resume, dress professionally, and be prepared for on-the-spot interviews. Some of the businesses at the fair include Advent Health, the City of Ocala, and the World Equestrian Center. For more information about the fair, visit thecareersourceclm.com.
And there's a string of storms making their way across Florida. How these storms may affect your weekend plans, coming up.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
The bulk of today's storms are currently making their way out of Ocala. Here in Alachua County, the storms are largely past, but there might be a couple showers still remaining. Over on the east side of the state, along the first coast over to Bradford County, we do have a flood watch in effect, so be careful if you are out driving. Looking at the Francine satellite, you can see all of this, which is the remnants of rain bands from Francine. Francine itself is currently up here in Memphis, but it is on the decline. Looking over here, you can see it has winds that are only up to 15 miles per hour, much slower than how it was at landfall just a couple of days ago. Looking at the flash flood risk outside of our region, as well as down here where we have a lower chance, but over in Alabama, they have quite a high chance of a flash flood risk. So if you are in that upper area of our region, you do want to look out. Looking at our future crafts, this low pressure system is Francine, but the storms are going to make their way across Florida in a scattered pattern towards this other area of low pressure out of the Gulf. As that continues, we do have a chance of that becoming a tropical system as well, about a 40% chance within the next 7 days. Out all the way here in the Atlantic is Jordyn, which is already officially a tropical storm, but it is not expected to make landfall over the next couple of days, so we don't have to worry about that here. Looking at our campus cam, you can see a lot of those clouds from those storms that passed by us earlier, but we don't see any rain, which makes sense because that rain has passed us. Temperatures are in those mid to upper 70s, including those dark clouds over our campus as well over the Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Current temperatures are in those upper 70s and are pretty consistent across the board, getting just slightly warmer as you get over towards that first coast by Jacksonville. As you're planning your evening, you want to look at our hour by hour. We have those temperatures declining just a little bit after sunset as those rain chances get out of the picture as well until tomorrow for your game day forecast, where we are going to be having quite a bit of rain just about at kickoff. Those temperatures are going to climb to the upper 80s, but then descend again throughout the game's time. Looking at our 7-day outlook, we have temperatures pretty consistent in those mid to upper 80s, lows in the 70s, and we have rain chances throughout the week with those storms coming.
This weekend, the Gators get ready to take on the Texas A&M Aggies at the Swamp. Quarterback DJ Lagway talks about his mindset for this upcoming game. More details after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Happy Friday, everyone. I'm Jordyn Banks with sports. After an electrifying game against Stanford, the Florida football team hopes to continue its momentum for tomorrow's game against the Texas A&M Aggies. Finally, we get to see who the starting quarterback is tomorrow after Coach Billy Napier officially said he will no longer release depth charts. Texas A&M quarterback Connor Wigman is currently listed as questionable for Saturday's matchup. Sharif Denson and Bryce Thornton of the Gators are no longer listed as questionable for Saturday's game. Florida freshman quarterback DJ Lagway, who was expected to see action this game, discusses his mindset moving forward.
You know, my coach is telling me one play at a time, that's what it is, just executing one play at a time, just getting my guys involved, just getting everybody involved with the ball, that's the biggest thing.
It's Friday night, and that means another week of high school football. Our game of the week is a big matchup between two ranked state powerhouse teams. WFT Sports' Talia Baia is previewing, Buchholz Bobcats will work to get the best of the Manatee Hurricanes.
Tonight, Manatee High School will be attempting to ruin Buchholz's unbeaten record so far this season. Manatee themselves are 2-1 on the season, having beaten Lake Mineola and Southeast High School by at least 38 points each. The Hurricanes are ranked 59th in Florida and 12th in Tampa. Buchholz has not lost yet, having recently beaten rivals Eastside 35-7. They are ranked the #1 team in Gainesville and 14th in the state of Florida. The teams are a great matchup with both averaging over 30 points per game. Let's hear what Buchholz head coach Mark Whittemore has been doing to prepare for tonight's matchup.
We're both ranked in the top 300 high schools programs in the country, so it's going to be an intense matchup. They play really good defense. They've got a great offensive plan. Former Gator and Jacquez Green head coach. So it's been a long preparation week, but we think we have we think we've got a plan to be competitive.
The Bobcats and Hurricanes take on each other at 7 p.m. tonight at Raiders Field. Reporting for WFT Sports, I'm Talia Baia.
More games to look out for today includes Gainesville versus Lecanto, Union County versus Baldwin, Santa Fe taking on Palaca, Lafayette versus Chiefland, and Madison County facing Columbia County. The SEC has released the 2025 schedules for Gator baseball and softball. Florida's first SEC series starts off with a bang as they face defending national champion Tennessee in Knoxville from March 14th to March 16th. Meanwhile, Gator softball, fresh off the College World Series appearance, will host defending national champion Oklahoma May 1st through May 3rd. Wrapping up with sports in the NFL, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers travel to Detroit to take on the Lions, and the Jacksonville Jaguars defend the home front against the Cleveland Browns on Sunday.
Well, good luck to the rest of our NFL teams in state for this weekend. Hopefully they can walk over the dub.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I mean, like, I was quarterback in Powder Puff in high school, so all I'm going to say is that, like, if anybody, like, wants to win a game, I'm always ready to go.
No, I actually played a little bit of football myself. You know, I was pretty good at my time.
Oh, yeah. Somebody in the studio told me that you were, like, left bench. Oh.
It's
okay,
okay.
Guys, it's all love in
It's
the
okay.
studio. We're the athletes here. You know what I mean?
Definitely,
Oh, shucks.
definitely.
Well, when you put it like that, I mean, listen, for the most part, let's make sure that our weather looks good for the football we have tomorrow against Texas A&M. And Ben, what do we have on deck for tomorrow?
Well, unfortunately, Alexis, we are in for a wet game tomorrow. The rain is going to be coming in through midday and extending itself through the rest of the evening. And we're going to face a similar pattern throughout the rest of the week. You can see Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, all the way through Thursday, but hopefully clearing up by Friday. Those temperatures through the week are going to be in those upper 80s, even reaching 90 degrees by the end of next week, but our lows are going to be nice and comfortable in those lower 70s. As you can see, the rain chances are going to be just above 50%. That's likely because we're going to be having rain, but it's not going to be persistent throughout the rest of the day. We're going to have that afternoon pattern pretty much every day this week as we continue. Now, our temperatures are just about what we would expect them to be for this time of year. You can see those normal temps at 70 and with the high of 89. Continuing that pattern through Friday, we're going to have those nice hot temperatures. It's going to be quite muggy, so you're going to want to make sure to dress very light, especially for any time that you are spending outside.
Well, thank you, Ben, and thanks for joining us. We're back here on Monday for another edition of First at 5.
And if you guys ever want to catch up on a story or learn a little bit more about it, you're more than welcome to head over to WFT.org. I mean, personally, I think it's a great website. We have a lot of social media platforms, and make sure that you guys have a good night and keep an umbrella.